Oh, actually, no. Looks like we're about to be done. All right, Htp family. We're gonna try to make this one quick. I have something to do in an hour. All right. So it's gonna be on an hour. We are now with Afromac. If y'all don't know who that is, you better find out. I'm just gonna make sure this thing is recorded. I heard some people complain I got a reverb. I got an echo. But yeah. All right. So, bro, Afromac, tell us who you are and why is it important for us to be listening to you.
I am what you would call a warrior on these digital streets. I specialize in bringing a different perspective in terms of what people would traditionally call woke or conscious. Yeah.
No, I said that's my recording. Hold on. Wait, let me just see how it
sounds. That's a reverb.
Oh yeah, I guess it needs an echo. Yeah, all right, go on. What were you saying?
Yeah, well, I'm just first of all, I am a engineer, specifically structural engineer, and I have a deep fascination for pre-colonial African infrastructure and the different methodologies that we would use to develop, refine, and maintain our societies, through eternity. And I think that we have to elevate the conversation, and those of us who have experience within the math, the sciences, and the different tools that we could use to actually build and apply these practices today, we need to start speaking up more. So that's kind of what I bring to the table. And I hope that we could have a super, super elevated conversation.
Okay, so, all right. So I realized what I had to do was I had to mute my mic. But anyway, shout out to the brother who pointed out that I was always having people on echo. Let me ask you this then.
Sure.
You want it to be contentious, or you want it to be cooperative? Let's go. Let's hear it. You want me to?
It could be either or.
Either or.
You be the fire.
All right, let's do it. All right. Sure. Nah, but for real though. All right. So you saw the title. The title of this program was "Who Are the Great Leaders?" I don't want to hear any of the oh my gosh, I don't like. All right, so we going. You could be real. All right, you could be real. You could take off. I don't know if you ever watched them cartoons where when the homeboy's trying to fight, he takes off the weights.
Yeah.
You can take off the weights. You can be real. You can say what you want. Now listen here. So that means I'm going to speak like this. We know Tariq Nasheed's a fraud. We know Black Authority fraud. We know all these stuff. Who are the good people? All right. Young person comes up to you and says, "Hey, I want to go into Africa. I need leadership." They say, "I need leadership." In fact, I know some brothers like that who are like, "I don't know what to do. I just want to follow somebody." And you mentioned that once upon a time you went online, you looked up stuff, and you were following some people. You know what I mean? Like young person today says, "I want to follow somebody." Who?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a variety of people, and
5 people.
The beautiful thing about our movement, our culture, is that we have people from different backgrounds and of different opinions. And some of the people that I would mention, they may not necessarily agree all with what each other has to say, but in terms of doing the work, I think that they do a really, really good job. And I would first say that, one, the very, very first point is if you do not have an African identity, you are completely disqualified. So anybody with ADOS, FBA, anybody who even entertains what I like to call jigaboo jingoism, or anybody who even entertains the sort of like Uncle Ruckus ethnocentric nationalism, where you think that you can, get some low-hanging fruit off of the tree of U.S. imperialism, British imperialism, French imperialism, or whatever type of, Mzungu imperialism, that is a complete fraud. So I automatically wiped out about 99% of the most prominent, Black YouTubers online. But the people
number 5. You didn't telling me all, like everybody like people want to know. People are not going. They don't want to hear, oh, this person's bad, that person's bad. They want to hear who's good.
Jahi Issa. Jahi Issa. Jahi Issa. Jahi Issa.
Jahi Issa. Wait, hold on a second. Let me spell that. Let me tell me how to spell that.
JAHIISSA.
HIIISSA. Wait, Jahii?
No, sorry, his first name, Jahi, Jahi.
Uh-huh.
That's his first name. And his last name, Issa, Issa.
Issa. Okay. Why?
The reason that he is a real one is because not only does he have the academic credentials, being a specialist in African nationalism, particularly 18th century and 19th century African nationalism, so he's really specific with his field of study, but he's been on the ground. He's been in Liberia. This year he was in Ghana. And he does things behind the scenes, not necessarily to gain clout, like most of these people are on social media and all of this fraudulent stuff. But you can see him, like what he's currently working on right now is he's trying to build shrines and he's trying to build temples to represent our indigenous and ancient and true spirituality, right? A lot of people, you talk about Kemet, you talk about, the different aspects, Nubia, ancient civilizations, the Jaliba River Valley, Nakwagadu, Dartichawalada, Songhai Mali, but very rarely do you see people actually institutionalizing, our traditional faith. And that's where Jahi Issa and another one, Salim Fariji is another guy who goes both ways in the sense that he's academic, he's a specialist in Coptology and Nubiology, which is particularly the study of late Kemet, which is the Coptic scene, the Coptic language, the Coptic spirituality that is manifested within the Alexandrian theology, the first Christian theology, which was based in Kemet, under the control of Greco-Roman colonialism, but Kemet nonetheless. And he also specializes in Nubiology and connects that to our identity as African people, right? So for me, those two guys, the reason why I have those two guys, like I would say that they're in my top 5, is because they can synthesize and they can connect the spiritual message, right, with the application.
All right, wait, hold on a second. So, what was the name of the second guy? By the way, how you doing, Althazor? That's faithful to the end. Good brother. He said we got an echo still. I don't know if I tried to turn on my volume. Maybe that's what it is. But let me ask you this. Okay, how do you spell the second brother's name?
Salim, Salim. That's his first name, and then Fariji, Faraji.
Say hi. All right, bet. All right, so now here's the question, okay? People sitting at home, they wondering. They're like, okay, the brother's building shrines. What good is that going to do?
Well, the good that does is the reason why these foreign religions, religions that have been in our continent for maybe 100 years in a large presence, have completely engulfed and swallowed our original Edenic or our original ancient African faith, is because they are institutionalized. So they have not only the resources, but they have the focal point within certain metropoles to literally orient commerce to their will. If you go to a country like Nigeria, in many areas of Nigeria, the church has more liquidity than the bank, meaning that more capital flows through the church than the bank, because dedicated believers pay their tithes, because when they see this institutionalized manifestation of the faith of the adversary, or what we would call the imperialist, the invader, they see value in that, because those people, the conquistadors, to use a Latin term, or a Portuguese and Spanish term, they have the bounty, they have the value. So the African, when they see the highest technology, the highest level of commerce, the highest level of development associated with these institutions, and they see our ancient faith, primarily in the countryside, and there's nothing wrong with the countryside, but the youth need to see that industrialization. Sheikh Anta Diop said that industrialization was one of the primary components of the African mode of production, also called the ancient mode of production in regular academy. So just because, we are, as African people, super dedicated and super connected to the nature, because the nature is how the ancestors, the realm of the Agungun, the Netchers manifest within our everyday life, we still had metropoles. Memphis, or Munefer, is a metropole. Waset is a metropole. These different ancient cities in ancient Songhai, Timbuktu, in Mali and Ghana, these are metropoles. So we always had focal points to our mode of production. And from a different perspective, you could say the chief or the king or the Nusut or the Ptah, great house, the pharaoh, we always had focal points to our political economy and to our social system. So the institutionalization of these faiths would help African people see the value in our traditional perspective within modern times. And that's why it's super important.
All right, it's super important. So you would advise that young people full of energy, say, you know what, I'm going to relocate into Africa and help build shrines.
Well, that's just one aspect of, a mode of production, or that's just one aspect of society.
But you would advise it.
If that is their talent, and if that is their skill, and if they have, talent in structural engineering, in architecture, in, zoning, surveying, geospatial engineering, if that is their skill, then yes, I would say absolutely. I would say that even if you do not relocate, I think that we should all kind of cut away this go to Europe for vacation, or go to, maybe some countries in Asia for vacation, and we should spend some money with our brothers and sisters. Spend some money in the land of our ancestry. Even if you don't relocate, every summer, every winter, go, have fun, build, develop, let's cooperate, let's collaborate. I'm trying to go. I was supposed to go next month, but COVID and all this craziness happened, and I'm planning to go in February. So, I still have it on my mind. Africa never leaves my mind. That's why if you do not have the African identity, you're lost.
All right, let me ask you this. So you named two people. Give us third, fourth, and fifth.
Third, fourth, and fifth. James Smalls. James Smalls is the third.
James Smalls? That's people called Brother Smalls? Wait, hey, hold on a second. He's an older man?
He's an older gentleman, and,
Gotcha.
And the reason why this is a controversial pick. This is a controversial pick is because James Smalls has run the gambit of, identity in terms of Christian, Muslim, African divination, and he certainly has worked with controversial figures in the past, figures that I personally would not agree with. But the reason why I have to put the elder there, and I have to, give respect to the elder generation, despite any disagreements, is because in terms of maturity and in terms of a black man, or an example of black masculinity that can beat the odds, and despite any type of, adversarial permutations, can bring forth progress and bring forth results. He's actually featured in a film called Htp. You should check it out.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to get that.
It's amazing, and I really want to get it too. What we need, like black, the problem, some of the problem, and I use black and African interchangeably. The problem in our community is that there's a generational divide, and the elders don't necessarily see eye to eye with the youth, and the youth don't necessarily see eye to eye.
Only because I'm in a rush. All right, sure. Only because I'm in a rush. First off, Brother Athrazor was saying this. He asked you this: is it the shrine, or is it the restoration of our connection to our modes of connection to the eternal? Like, what's really important, the shrine or the restoration of our connection to our modes of the connection to the eternal?
I would say both and.
Which is more important? Is the physical building more important, or the faith?
Well, it depends on the context. It depends on the context of how you're operating. Well, okay, so if you're coming at it from a military national defense orientation, you definitely want to have the infrastructure to be able to defend your society. But if you're coming at it from a psychological perspective, you need that cultural foundation. And the metaphors of how we describe the divine and the ineffable all come from our culture. Okay. So it will definitely depend. But I would say that if you do not have both, you do not have a complete holistic society.
So basically, Athrazor, you got to ask a tougher question.
Context is important.
James Smalls is good. Like I said, I'm in a rush. You decided to take a little longer, so we're gonna have to just, boom. 4 and 5.
PLO Lumumba. And PLO Lumumba is another controversial pick. He's another very controversial pick. Okay. But in terms of the continental message, not every Pan-Africanist, and this is important, this is very important, because Du Bois, like him or leave him, he was a Pan-Africanist. Not every Pan-Africanist was as strenuous and rigorous as Garvey. Other people took more moderate paths. And sometimes, some of these individuals who have a continental space or a continental message or a continental platform have to be diplomatic, and they have to bring certain people together. And that's what PLO Lumumba is so good at. He's so good at bringing different groups of African people together towards a common goal of our sovereignty and a common goal of our collective continental and international liberation. So he's definitely one that I would say his historical knowledge is impeccable. His ability to speak and inspire African people is truly impeccable. And I would say that if you were a young African person, a young black person anywhere in the world, and you were looking for an example of a Pan-Africanist, right? A Pan-Africanist from a rhetorical perspective and an institutional perspective, I would say PLO Lumumba.
All right, hold on a moment. So, because my thing is this, I know PLO Lumumba to be what they say the best speaker in Africa, the best living speaker, right? I mean, I guess
that's what people claim.
I guess they didn't hear me yet, but I'm joking. But anyway, real talk. Okay, Author was asking this. He likes what PLO is saying, but what is he doing? What is he doing? What is PLO doing? Give us the scoop.
Well, in order to answer that question, you have to know what is fourth generational warfare. Okay. So we know about traditional warfare from the musket, to the machine gun, to the nuclear arsenal. But now, within the space that we have now, intellectual, right, and information warfare is the warfare that is being established within this phase, because no longer, right, prior to this phase, the commodity was the primary mode of value and capital accumulation. But today, in today's phase, it's content. People move based upon content. Everything's digital now. And in that space, the reason why PLO is important is because his level of application is within that fourth generational field of warfare on an intellectual basis.
Okay.
From the different.
By the way, that article, I think your boy put it up on the Discord. So people, if you want to read some of these articles, definitely join the Discord. Y'all see Afromac, he's having fun. You like the Discord, man?
Yeah, it's amazing. I never knew that there were so many African-centered Hotep engineers. It's really amazing.
All right, dude. There's some engineers here. By the way, Officer, you come through, man. Come on. All right. Now name your fifth person.
Fifth person, another controversial pick, Dr. Kamal Kambon.
Kamal Kambon. Really?
Kamal Kambon. And I've actually, and interestingly enough, I've had many, well, I don't want to say many, I've had some disagreements with the doctor, with the elder. I've had many disagreements. One of the latest articles that he posted, I have, it's iffy because when you start to get into the doctrinal stuff, you start to get into the theology stuff, there's many, from the semantics, there's many different ways that we could disagree. But the reason why I have to say him is because I respect his work ethic, the languages that he knows, the African languages that he knows, and his ability to institutionalize those languages within the digital space. If a young person came to me and said, hey, who's one of the top dogs? Who's in the all-star? Who's going to make the first team? If I were to put Kamal on the bench, I'd be foolish, right? So really? I have to say him. I would have to say, and interestingly enough, if you put my 5 people in a room, they would probably disagree so much on the particular that they could have a 20-hour conversation about the specifics. But that's what building a coalition is all about. It's about building a coalition of rivals, because steel sharpens steel. And I think that these guys that I have, if I were to have a starting 5, and if I were to have the best of both worlds from an academic aspect to an institutional aspect, military aspect, intellectual, I would take those 5 guys.
All right, let me say this. Most people are not really too familiar with Kamal Kambon beyond his one speech in the on C-SPAN. That one bold speech.
Actually, I was thinking of his son. I was thinking of Obadeli Kambon. I have to correct myself. Kamal is the father.
I was gonna ask why you skipped over Obadeli, but okay.
I was gonna say Obadeli. Honestly, and not to disrespect the elder Kamal, because Kamal has a very, very long track record within the African-centered community. And not a lot of people don't know this, because people like to talk about the divide between different ethnicities of African people. But Kamau, in his association with ASCAC and his association with elders like Dr. Clark and Marimba Ani and Francis Cress Welsing, one of the main reasons that he had such success and he had, such a long-lasting career within this struggle was because of his valiant ability to be able to unite different groups of African people around the world.
Hey, dude, I don't know. You sound like you're doing some rhetoric. Sound like you're doing some sort of presidential speech. Like I said, I don't know anything about this brother beyond that one speech like a million years ago.
Okay. Well, no, Obadeli, his son is the guy. His son.
What was controversial about his last article? Let's hear that one.
Well, he had written an article basically in response to a book that two of the guys that I mentioned wrote, and it was a book about the origin of Amen, right, in ancient Africa. And what they did is they looked at the linguistic place names, and they saw Amen or Amun, which is what we call it in Cameroon, all over Africa. And they were basically proving the point that Sheikh Anta Diop made in Civilization and Barbarism, Unity of Pre-Colonial Black Africa, where he said that Amen is the god of Black Africa, right? So they were basically proving that point. And Obadeli, as a linguist, he kind of analyzed their position, and he really, he went to work on it. And he brought up a lot of interesting points, but I guess what I would say my position against it would be from an objectivist perspective or a teleological perspective, in the sense that I don't necessarily believe in researching African culture to find truth per se. That's not useful. So what we find, we have to be able to apply it. And I think the elders, Dr. Faraghi and Dr. Issa, did an excellent job. And again, you do have contention, so I'm not necessarily faulting Obadeli, Dr. Cambone, for his apprehension against them. But,
so he was saying that Amon is not the nature of Africa? That's what he was saying?
He didn't necessarily explicitly state that within his article. He was basically showing some of the methodological errors within the book that Dr. Issa and Dr. Faraghi wrote. Okay. So he was basically going into it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I read in my book about Amon being the same. So my question, I have a few questions why you didn't name certain people. That's another thing onto it. I do want to say this. Firstly, let's go back to what authors are always writing. Oh yeah, so particularly about PLO Lumumba, you're just saying, oh, he talks well, so ergo that's
necessarily.
All cool. Look,
that's not necessarily what I'm saying.
We want to understand this. Young persons comes, they want to do some leadership. They want to engage in some sort of, organization, some sort of future. All right.
Yeah.
They don't have, But actually, matter of fact, name me who do you think is the leader? Like, who was the leader? Never mind. All right, who was the leader on the continent? Of all the great leaders on the continent, who was in modern times, in the 20th century? Who was the leader?
Who is the leader? The top president. Well, and that's a very subjective question, because
asking
when you
you,
say
bro.
Leader. Okay. Well, I am totally not on the same political side as Kagame. I'm not.
What? No, I don't mean right now. I mean like of the 20th century, man.
Garvey, of course. It's obviously Garvey.
I said in Africa. On Africa. He didn't get to go to Africa, so.
Well, come on. Africa's in our hearts. It's not necessarily.
The presidents of Africa.
Okay.
All the legendary presidents. Which one? This brother gonna say Kagame.
Oh my gosh! I gotta pick.
He almost said Kagame.
I gotta pick one.
You gotta pick one.
Okay.
Look. Young person's like, I gotta read somebody's biography.
Sabukwe. Bobby Sabukwe.
Why?
And the reason why is because.
How do you spell his name? I don't remember how to spell his name.
Sobukwe.
Hold on a second.
Sobukwe.
S-O... What?
Sobukwa. Sobukwe.
Oh, really? Nah, but I think they spell it different in English. I think they spell it different because here it's like... I thought it was S-E-B-O-U-K-W-E. But okay.
Well, according to
nah, look, bro, I don't know. I was just saying. Like, so tell us why. Tell us why we should be reading this brother.
Okay, so I'm gonna give him endorsement of him. Mama, Amy J. Garvey said that he was the greatest student of Marcus Garvey of the anti-colonial generation.
Enough said.
And the reason why, yeah, this is it. I can go deeper, but that's pretty. I mean, that was the wife. So.
Enough said.
I mean,
say less. Say less. All right. So, brothers is listing up stuff. So look here. So I mean, we're gonna jump into ancestral. We're gonna jump into your question, but
for sure.
Look here. So first off, one, you ain't named me. I don't know why you ain't do that. So that's.
Wait, hold on. I have a lot of people. As you're speaking. I mean, you're obviously a very excellent. I mean, you brought in a lot of people together. But as you're speaking, there are so many people. I'm like, I forgot him.
Yeah, but you talking to me. You talking to me. You ain't talking to them right now. So that's an X. That's an X. But all right, here's this. So what about my sister? I can't remember her name, but Chia Bari or something like that. Chia Bori, the one that was kicked out of the UN. No, not the UN, the African Union.
She's there. No, she's definitely up there.
Why didn't you name her? What's up? Why did you name her? Why did you name Kamau Obadale or PLO before her?
I feel bad. I feel bad because I don't have any sisters on there. I feel horrible.
I know. I noticed that. So is something wrong with women being leaders? Is that what you're saying?
Of course not.
Okay.
African people. Always had,
we did, but you did it. That's the problem. Now I gotta check you. You know what I'm saying? we gotta do a skin check now.
You put me on the spot.
We gotta do a skin check. Every brother gonna name his sister except for you. Nah, I'm joking. All right, brother, it's all good.
No, hold on.
But why you ain't name her? Why you name these other people over her? That's what I want to figure out.
All of those brothers have beautiful wives, beautiful mothers, beautiful sisters, and without those women, they wouldn't even be alive.
Okay, right? Man, pause,
but
man. Yo, you going after their wives? Come on, my dude.
No, maybe ancestors bless those.
I'm asking you a question, direct question, bro.
I love her. She's amazing.
Huh? Okay, she's amazing, but you named PLO Lumumba before her.
Well, here's the thing. I don't. There are areas. As much as I love her work, I respect her. Her passion is amazing.
Yeah.
She's probably going to be the next AU chair once we get things under control. Her recent comments kind of set me aback about the Zimbabwe land issue. That kind of set me aback. And I understand that there's a variety. Well, she kind of said that it was necessary, basically along the lines that in order to reduce the sanction imposition on Zimbabwe, it was necessary to have certain reforms, right? And
sorry, I didn't hear you. I was laughing at something. Apparently, some people in the chat think that you only want women to be barefoot and pregnant. I'm shocked.
On now. Who's saying that?
No, all right, but what are you saying about this woman who's not barefoot and pregnant? Go.
Well, but hold on. I mean, the fact. Women as a life bringer, it is the adversary.
Bro, I only have 30 minutes. Negative. I only have 30 minutes.
Okay, but come on.
Nah,
I'm just saying.
No defending yourself. You could have defended yourself by speaking truth in the beginning. You wanna put up Obadale Kambon.
Hey,
look. I would ask you straight up. You really think Obadale Kambon could be a leader, a great leader?
In his capacity, and there's different types of leaders.
Like what?
Right? So, but if you're like there's teachers, right? There's martial arts instructors, right? There's spiritual advisors.
So you feel like look, my question is this, real talk, right? Like real talk. So how important is public speaking for when it comes to leadership?
I would say that it is extremely important.
To be a good public speaker. Okay, so
it is extremely important.
It's critical, right?
Yes.
So if it's critical, is Obadale Kambon, no disrespect, is he a good speaker?
That's subjective. To answer that question, I would say, does he get his message across? Yes. Is it the most eloquent? I mean, and then again, eloquent according to English, according to Twee, according to like there's different areas and different parameters. Africana is definitely a better speaker than all of the men that I mentioned by a mile and a half. And I would also say the elder Marimba Ani, I would put her first over everyone on the planet. I would
really?
put her number one over everyone on the planet.
You would put now you're just saying that because you had a perfect opportunity. You had a perfect opportunity. You named 5 dudes, and now I would name Marimba Ani over everybody on the planet, right? And
I would put her. If it wasn't for Marimba Ani, we wouldn't be here, right?
I'd be here, but okay. Pretty sure we'd be here.
Well,
but,
I mean, come on. Urugu, I mean, that woke up so many. That woke up the elders of our elders of our elders. Like, I think we have to give Mama Marimba Ani her just due.
Yeah, Marimba Ani good people. I met her. I don't know if she's really that great a speaker, to be honest, but I met her. I sat at her feet like everybody else. You know, that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. I was a little bit taken aback when I met her because she was like, I think you guys should start a book club, and the first book you should read is Race First by Tony Martin. And it's just like, my thing is that you're Marimba Ani. You know, you could do anything. You know, you're up there. And she's kind of like handing the leadership over. You know, even though we don't have any sort of popularity whatsoever. You know, to this day. I only have like.
I mean,
look.
That is respectable.
No. I mean, no. If you have this large platform, your task is to be the leadership. You know, be the organizer. Make the organizations and make sure the organization's running well. You know, Garvey didn't just sit back and say, "Oh, let the younger people do it." You know, and if he did, it was after. You know, but here's the thing with a lot of the people you named. Matter of fact, I don't even know if I don't recognize the first 2. James Small, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm really suspicious of him. PLO Lumumba.
Explain.
What, James Small? Well, like the brother was pointing out, I'm in New York. He's in New York. As far as I understand, I was in the you know Ultimatics Jr.?
Yeah.
Okay. Of course. Yeah. So we were Ultimatics Jr. We were in the United African Movement. He was telling us that everybody in New York City, everybody that's pretty much like everybody, all the black organizations were like infiltrated. Well, not just infiltrated. They were all like police covers, pretty much. You get what I'm saying? Like all of them. Like the police operate in all of them, pretty much. Or the police run everything. And not just that. When we were doing the Freedom Party, all of these organizations kind of turned on us. You know, which you know, for the most part, is understandable. You know, but like basically, long story short, you know, like for instance, people are gonna say this. People are gonna be like, man, Oni, you like the Democrats, you like the Democrats. No, I don't really like the Democrats. I just realized that they are one of the 2 powers in America, you know, and they're just going to win. Cause I mean, honestly, they did sabotage the Freedom Party. The Freedom Party was a black, like was going to be like the first official black organization, black political party, and the Democrats sabotaged it. So I mean, obviously, I don't really like the Democrats for doing that because that was my youth. But I recognize and realize, you know what, this is their country, you know. This is their country, and they can do what they want. But the point being that, you know, James Small was a part of that coalition of, well, as far as I understand, as far as I remember, because it was like 10 years ago. But he was a part of that coalition of people pretty much in the pocket of the Democratic Party, pretty much in the pocket of the police, and pretty much, you know, like basically a lot of people got paid. Like Al Sharpton got paid, and then Al Sharpton paid a lot of other people. And as far as I understand, James Small is one of those people who got paid, you know? So, like, for me, it's like, nah. I like, people in New York, I mean, me obviously accepted. But people in New York, you know, I wouldn't trust them with a, you know, I wouldn't trust them with a grenade, you know what I'm saying?
So nobody coming out of New York? New York is completely...
I'm saying like, there are organizations that are run. But basically, like, real life, or even, like, I just read Malcolm X stuff. Real life, you don't get to do things. You don't get to operate in a white nation, in the public eye, without the police's permission. You know what I mean? Like in a real level, you know, like a lot of stuff do not make sense. You know, you're not going to be a radical in any nation. You know, like you just mentioned Kagame. If I'm in Rwanda and you see me on TV talking about a crap about Kagame, right? Yeah. You know, and even if you see me also, you see Kagame shaking my hand, right? You kind of know that I'm not really talking crap about Kagame, or I'm not really against Kagame.
Going in.
You know what I'm saying? Oh no, I mean like, real talk. You know, Kagame is letting me do it. You understand?
Well, I have to ask you this question. I have to, and you did read this in Message of Philosophy. What is your position on Garvey's meeting with the KKK?
Oh yeah, that's all right. I mean, we have to understand that when like white people do, it's white people's nation. I don't think white people don't care about like they don't care about you wanting to go to another country and do something in another country per se. You know, I've yet to meet a white person who was like, Oni, you're gonna go to. I mean, I never talked to white people, but you know, like somebody else said, if you see a white person calling me, you know, you gotta go arrest them because I don't know how they got my number. Right? but like real talk. I mean, if I was engaging with a white person, they're not like Garvey was about moving the black problem away from white folk. You know, in that sense, they're not really. You know, like I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, I wouldn't personally. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't leave the Klan, but again, like on the real, you know, Garvey was just a great man, and people like it's complicated, but he wasn't against the state in America, so there was no reason for the state to go against him until, you know, it was you know, until like England and them interfered. You know, but long story short, you know, like, yeah. I mean, the Klan. What about it? You know what I mean? Why? What would you say?
I mean, I would say that he wasn't publicly opposed to the imperialists, but on a private level, continentally, the idea was to build, you know, our continental nation state, and then, you know, then justice would be served. And on your point about Smalls, I mean, I don't know. You definitely know more about New York City politics than I do, and it's something interesting to look into. But the reason that I mentioned his name, just off the top of my head, I was thinking of people involved on the ground in Africa, and I'm aware of a certain real estate development project that he has in Ghana, and that's the reason why he came up when I mentioned him. And I respect even people who, you know, fall astray, right? I respect the good that they do. I respect Old Testament Huey Newton prior to, you know, the New Testament phase of Huey Newton, and some people would oppose that. Intercommunalists would oppose that. But overall, I just think that your position, I wish I was on the Neely Fuller, because you actually gave a position perfectly in opposition to Neely Fuller's position on that issue, which is really, really amazing. And that's how I know that you really believe in what you do, because Neely would actually say that, he would say that there is never a time where you should not open communication with those who are classified as white if we're about the justice of removing those racial classifications.
Yeah, okay, bro. We're not even gonna entertain that. Whatever. I'm trying to read some of Oscar's comments. You know, I don't want to. I almost invited them onto the line because it's public, but because I was only have 30 minutes, I can't do that. I know you got something to do. Let's see. Brother Arthur said we need a media group. Okay, we need an education group. We need a finance group. We need a group around an ideology. Are there more that I'm missing? Is he missing something? What else do we need a group on? Media, education, finance, ideology. Name something else.
Defense.
Oh, defense. Yeah. Defense. Yeah. And I noticed none of these leaders are about defense. Kamal Kamban, he was interested, but you didn't mention it. You said Abadele Kamban. Abadele Kamban, he's Abadele Kamban, whatever. He's interesting. I don't think he's a good speaker. I would not. I don't see.
Well, in what language though?
I mean, all right, yeah. I mean, maybe he's a good speaker in Twi. I don't know, but I really don't know, but I mean, I couldn't say. All right, let me see what time. Oh, okay, I got like 20 minutes. Look, you didn't mention Baruti. Why didn't you mention Baruti?
I would have mentioned him. I literally, like, as I mentioned, because there's a lot of, a lot of our elders are not on social media like that. Baruti is, but a lot of people who are doing grassroots, the people who have the most followings are the clout chasers, right? So Baruti is another guy. I definitely, those who are, the elders escaping me, but those who are in charge of Oyatunji Village in South Carolina, and they do commerce back and forth from there to Nigeria, I would mention them. There's so many people. Kemi Seba.
Oh, so you would mention Baruti? You would mention Baruti?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I would mention him. Absolutely.
So you feel like? I mean, I'm just asking. Look, everybody, I'm just being Isfat's advocate, quote unquote. By the way, what is fist and drums? I don't know what this guy is saying about fist and drums. I don't know what that means. Flat and drums. I don't know what that means, man. All right, so look, it looks like I got one more time. My meeting was a little canceled. You got more time, or you got 20 minutes?
Yeah, I got time.
Okay. I mean, maybe if you want for this, after this amount of time, we could actually drag in some people if anybody wants to drag anybody on. But let's see. Let me see if I can read any more comments. All right, so you didn't mention Baruti. You said you would mention Baruti. Baruti is trying to push this sovereignty idea, practicing sovereignty in the U.S. How practical is that to you?
If it is connected to continental and international sovereignty, it is extremely practical. If it's not, then it's absolutely impractical.
So if he was pushing the sovereignty in the U.S. right now, would you advise somebody to follow him?
Within the United States, well, I'd have to see the context of specifically what he's talking about.
Well, he's saying, like, well, you never heard him say something about we have to be a sovereign people and practice sovereignty and all that? You never heard that?
I've heard him say that, but I interpreted that as being sovereign from a centered perspective, or from a perspective of saying, we don't celebrate your holidays. We teach our children their language. We show them our, philosophy, culture.
In America.
Folkways. Well, I mean, yes. I think that every successful, stable group of people, going to the message to the people by Garvey. Garvey told us to be against, right, the direct form of rioting or the direct form of agitation. And what he advocated was to teach our children their culture, the spirituality, the philosophy, to equip them to build the nation state of Africa, the unified African nation state. So that position is perfectly in line with Garveyism, but the context would have to be like, so someone who's saying vote, for the corporate capitalist political parties, or somebody saying that our salvation is within the confines of the U.S. Constitution, I would say no. I would say absolutely not. But there are tools within the legal structure that exists today that we could use to our advantage to orient our people who are here towards that ultimate goal.
So wait a second. All right. You decided to talk about voting. You don't advise people vote, or you do advise people vote?
I say that voting is a tool in a larger arsenal. If you do vote locally, and especially in certain elections with DAs and certain voting initiatives for infrastructure and all the education, that's important. But stringing your identity, attaching your being, your essence to one of these corporate political parties and voting down ticket, I think is absolutely foolish.
Voting down ticket is foolish?
Or so let me rephrase that. Voting party line is foolish. I think that's ridiculous, and we should have been. I mean, in 2020, we should have been far past that point.
Really, you don't
far past that point.
You don't want to. All right, so I'll actually let me explain to you why somebody will vote down the line. Because my thing is, I understand that black people do that. As far as I understand, if you're a registered Democrat, right? That the only way you can vote in the primary is if you're a registered Democrat, right?
Yes.
If you are, so you want to vote in the primaries. That's where you want to choose the candidate, right? You want to make sure that your candidate gets the representation. You want to be able to push forward a candidate. After you vote,
Absolutely.
after you vote in the candidate, the primaries, right? Then you, as a registered Democrat, you technically want to vote, like you already voted for your candidate, right? Whether your candidate won or lost, then this brother, what is he writing? Oh, he's saying a DNC shill. I thought he was saying DNC ain't shit. First off, hold on a second, bro. First off, I said the Democrats done messed up my freaking youth or whatever. But anyway, all right, look. After that, though, after you already voted in the primaries, so you're saying that you should vote in the primaries. If your primary candidate doesn't win, then you should not vote for the Democrats.
That's not necessary. I mean, I'm saying if you choose to vote, you can vote how you feel. I mean, people vote. Some people vote in the primary, don't in general. Some people don't vote in the primary, and they do vote in the general.
So you advise that somebody who votes in the primaries does not vote in the general?
It would depend. Who's the candidate? What's the context? It would depend. I wouldn't necessarily tell people to vote for Biden. I wouldn't tell people to vote for Biden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, it sounds like that's like some sore loser stuff, don't you think?
No, not necessarily. If a candidate's not speaking to you, right? So I think black voters who say that if you don't talk about reparations, I'm not going to vote for you, they have a valid point.
Really?
I think that,
you find that's a valid point?
I think they have a valid point.
You believe that you should hold, you should be paid to vote?
Paid to vote?
Yeah.
In money?
Yeah, you think you should receive compensation for voting?
Monetary compensation, no. I think.
So what do you think? What do you think? Hey, if you don't give me reparations, I won't vote. Means.
That means that if you are not willing to implement policies that will benefit my family and my community, then there's no reason for me to lend you my support.
Uh-huh. But no, you said reparations in particular.
Yeah, and reparations is not just monetary. I mean, the jigaboo jingoists in the FBA and ADOS, they may try to reduce reparations to monetary value. But if you look at an institution like Cobra, who's been doing it since 1987, not perfect, but they obviously see that money alone is not going to fix the problem.
All right, but okay. So let's see. I mean, but the thing is this. So the Democrats were saying something along the lines, and I'm just. It's Fats Advocate, not DNC show. It's Fats Advocate, okay? We got. How many times do you get to have Afromac on your podcast? I'll tell you how many times. Once, right? Once so far.
First time.
All right. Yeah. All right. So let me ask you this. Okay. So you said something about dang it. See, I'm making so many jokes in this. I don't know if y'all heard that kid in the background. I'll probably get back to it. Let's see. You didn't mention Baruti, so now you did not mention Malema. Why didn't you mention Malema?
Julius Malema? Julius Malema is doing good work. I do not think that state capitalism is the answer. I don't think that a Chinese-style solution is the answer for African people. It's definitely better than what we have now. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, state capitalism is something that the Rockefellers predicted in their paper. Or a paper where they were talking about political trends in Africa over the next half a century to 3 centuries. And they're basically predicting the orientation. It's a white paper that they have public.
What do you mean by what's wrong with state capitalism? Let us know.
It doesn't fix the problem. The same issue that we have now exists within state capitalism. The difference is that instead of the capitalists owning the control of the means of production, it's a state institution in that Walmart. Imagine if Walmart was the United States store company, mm-hmm. or if Apple was the United States phone company, and all you changed was the government appoints the leaders of the corporation, but everything else in the corporation is the exact same.
And so what's wrong with it? China? What's wrong with it?
Well, the workers are oppressed. Workers work and they don't get the majority of the value for what they work for. The wealth is still, calcified at the top 1% of the population, if not the top 0.1% of the population. The same issues and the same problems.
So you feel like wealth should be more equally distributable? It's distributed, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. And where have you seen this happen? What's an example of that?
I would say that in pre-colonial Africa, to use the phrase of John Henry Clark, there was always a classless society because we did not have economic class in pre-colonial Africa whatsoever.
And so pre-colonial Africa, first off, brother, you know you a Kemet scholar, so don't try to play that. You're saying that Kemet didn't have a class society?
Not economic class, no.
Okay, so you think that these brothers, these ancestors, getting buried in, in linen and gold and silver and platinum and workers and blah blah blah. You think and these big funeral homes, you think they was of the same class as everybody else?
Well, they had a different caste system. Alethi Asante talked about the socio-cultural.
I'm asking you because you said it was a classless society. You're saying that they were the same class?
Economic class. In order to have economic class, you have to have private property.
Bro, I don't know why you're yelling at me, but
I'm passionate.
Well, I mean, you gotta yell at me though. I'm saying like, don't forget I'm still older than you, right? All right.
I respect my elders.
Huh?
I say I respect my elders, so I'll take that one.
You're not doing it right now, though. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All right. So look. So you're saying you're saying it's a classless society, notwithstanding the fact that like this brother was saying, they got hella drip. I don't know what that means, but he's younger than me, so maybe it means something.
If you see it from the modern perspective, where commodities, capital, that's how we see value, then yeah, it'll seem as if a person buried within that instance, is definitely from a higher economic class than someone else. But I think from a spiritual perspective, when you're talking about Amun or the realm of Noon, and when you're talking about how within the society, then the suitor, the pharaoh, was a manager of wealth, and if he did not evenly distribute wealth, if the granaries were not evenly distributed, and what Kemet did is that they got grain from surplus regions, from surplus nomes, and then applied them to deficit nomes. And their economy was based upon equally providing and distributing resources across the society. And that was the job of the Nasut and the job of his underlings and his governors within the political structure and within the orientation of how they did things. So yeah, there was a caste system from a social perspective, from a cultural perspective, certainly. But from the perspective of having private property, right? Private property at best was like a second derivative away from the regular operation of the Kemetic economy. It didn't exist in the same way that it exists today.
Okay, so yeah, private property. Yeah, well, that's a different statement. You're saying, but the trouble is this. So you're saying, look, and this is the thing you have to also realize, because this is the thing with the capitalism, socialism discussion.
Sure.
Right? The capitalism and social discussion are around the lines of property, particularly manufacturing, heavy industry, light industry, that sort of stuff.
Uh-huh.
They're related to those things that weren't necessarily present pre-modern and pre-industrial society. You don't really have
Absolutely.
industry in pre-industrial society like that. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like a moot point. So in a sense, you're saying,
I don't think so.
You're saying, in a sense, hey, they didn't have post-industrial classes in pre-industrial Africa, right?
I wouldn't use the term.
I would say
use post-industrial.
Oh, let's not say post-industrial. Let's say industrial classes in pre-industrial Africa. This brother, he called me a shill over everything. he called me a capitalistic shill. Like, what the fudge, man? This is... And no, I cursed. I didn't say fudge. I cursed. Okay. All right. All right. No. Okay. So yeah. Look. No. The idea. I would say that yes, they did have classes. I don't know if I would agree with you on they didn't have classes. I understand that they did not have industry, but the question does become who owns the industry in a society, and if it's not the private sector, then it would be the public sector. So. Or that's the assumption that there's either private sector or public sector.
I think because you threw a lot, out there. I think on the first point, I wouldn't use pre-industrial because industrialization is a fundamental aspect of the African mode of production, particularly in the metropole, and that's what Diop defined. But in terms of a capital-based or a capital accumulation-based society. Certainly, they didn't have that. And the fact that we exist today within slavery, right? Our identity, our African identity is pre-slavery. So just because we're in slavery, we certainly couldn't say that African identity is useless because it's actually what's going to get us out of slavery. So I think it's the same thing with the African mode of production. We are in a dichotomy of capitalism, socialism, communism, but we need to use our ancient source and our ancient foundation of organization to be able to get out of this plantation economy into a liberated economy.
Well, all right,
So
but look, bro, you the soy descent expert on ancient cultures. So, and soy descent means self-described. I just like saying it. All right, so you know, you're the self-described expert on ancient cultures.
I'm a student.
Huh?
I'm a student of ancient cultures. I wouldn't say that
I'm mocking you. You gotta correct me when I'm mocking you.
I'm accepting it. I'm accepting the impression.
All right. So what I'm saying is, if you are, let's say, so if somebody should know how to handle heavy industry, who should handle heavy industry in a African culture, right? Who does it go to?
It would go to those trained within the craft, within the secret societies, right? Designed to understand the philosophy behind the usage of that within our cultural context and how it's applied. The engineer.
So would this be this secret society, if you will? And by the way, you know, I actually, if people, I do this all the time. I show my own book, but you know, I did have something similar in my book, so y'all make sure y'all get that. Although I could tell Afromac didn't get it, but you know, hopefully he checks that out.
It's on my list.
Hopefully, yeah. Well,
no, actually, hold on. Udoka sent me a PDF. I'm gonna have to. He did because he was talking about it a few months ago. It's gonna take me a while in my Telegram.
Yeah. Okay.
Book of Power. The Book of Power.
Yeah. Whatever, dude. All right. So, all right. So, the secret society, though. Here's the thing. You have this group of people. So, would that be private? Them as individuals, or them as a function of the state? As an appointee of the state?
Well, the public-private dichotomy is something that exists within the West, but in Africa, Chima Konan, which is an Igbo philosopher, he talks about the excluded middle, and that African philosophy does not exclude the middle. So you do have things that are personal, right? You have things that are private in certain circumstances. You have things that are public. It just kind of depends. And I think
let's make it clear. Let me make it clear. All right? Mm-hmm. We go to Africa, right?
Sure.
We do some big, right? We get stuff done. All right?
Yeah.
Then I you know, me obviously, I'm the conqueror between the two of us, right? You know, I'm the good one. I'm the badass. You already know.
Maybe in comedy.
Maybe so, but you know what I'm saying? Like most likely so. After that, all right. But what I'm saying is this: we get the Inga Dam, all right. You know, we say, hey, you know, congratulations, only you done got Congo on our side. We building the Inga Dam, and you know the Inga Dam is, right. I don't gotta explain that to nobody. I guess I gotta explain it to everybody who don't know, which is, you know, whoever, right? And by the way, y'all to the likes and stuff. Come on, all right. Inga Dam. It's a powerful dam. It's able to generate enough power to, power all of Africa. Who does that go to? The dam.
You're talking about who owns the dam?
Yeah, sure. Who owns the dam? Who would be in charge of the dam?
It would have to be the people. It would have to be the people.
People by way of what? I mean, who makes decisions on the dam? You're saying the people all will say, you know what, we believe that the power should be generated in such a way. You know, we should all vote. We should have a public vote to let's say you know, we have this powerful state in Africa. Let's say it doesn't have everything going for it yet. Like it's not the whole continent. Okay, it's just a powerful state. It's connected to this brother said should be the Nigerians. Alright, so like, you know, let's say Nigeria's not in the fold because, you know, it sounds like they won't be, right? I'm just thinking this, brother. But let's say Nigeria's not in the fold. We can make an energy deal with Nigeria. Okay? So Nigeria's like, yo, y'all have a powerful country, y'all got Inga Dam shit, you know? We want to make an energy deal. Who do we talk to? Who do they talk to?
You have to talk to the local people. You have to talk to the
local people. Yes, are going to broker a deal with Nigeria.
But hold on. You have to look at the African mode of production. You have to look at how things operated. Even look at, and I know people, this is a controversial, but look at the Jamaharia.
This is the engineer. What do you say?
But hold on.
Nah, I just heard you say gonorrhea or something. What did you just say?
No, I said Jamaharia.
Jamaharia. I'm like, what? What is he talking about?
Right? And Muammar Gaddafi is a controversial figure. But if you look at how they ran their diplomacy and the fact that they had the most developed nation on the continent, the Jamaharia, the local council, precedes the state council, which precedes the national council. So
what is Jamaharia? Let people that don't know what you're talking about. What is that?
You said gonorrhea. Okay, the
I didn't say gonorrhea this time. You said that.
I'm talking about socialist technological development (STD).
Wait, what?
The Jama.
Hey, what's going on, man? You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you just said something. All right, I'm not mishearing you, bro. No, look. So you're saying the local council. Wait, what country is this Jamaharia? What is that? That's Libya?
Libya. This is
okay. All right, look. So there's a dam inside of the Congo. I don't care about these Arabs. There's a dam in the Congo. Okay.
Some of them were African, though. But
all right, bros. Look, I'm chlamydia. No. Wait, this brother just read. No, I'm joking. I'm just joking. He just read down. Good. Bring up chlamydia next. I just got to do it. Had to do it. No, all right. No, but I shouldn't make that joke because you know. Oh, wait, hold on a moment. Shoot. Wait a second. Hold on a second. Wait. Give me 2 seconds, alright? Just.
For sure.
Oh, hold on a second. Wait, hello? Hello? Oh, wait, I thought you said you were going to talk to me later. Oh no! Call me back. I mean, you know, I'm in the middle of a live, you know. Wait, let me see if I don't know if I'm being recorded right now. All right. Oh wait, am I being? You know what? I just realized I might be. Hold on a second. Can you hear me? I turned off my TV on mistake. Hey, can you hear me, bro? This thing's not working. I just realized this thing is probably still streaming. I should have muted this right here. That would have made a lot more sense. That's not at all embarrassing. Why is this thing not working though? Can you hear me, bro?
Yeah, I can hear you. Perfectly fine.
Oh, dang. You know what? I was just on the phone 2 seconds ago. I forgot to mute the... I might have to not keep this thing up.
Wait, what? What happened?
Huh? What is it?
What happened to it?
I was just talking on the phone, but I forgot I was being recorded live.
Oh. I mean, you can chop it up.
Yeah, I'm just joking. Alright. Yeah, you're right. I can probably do something. Anyway, look here. I don't know what happened to my TV now. Oh, it turned off to 2. Alright, let's see. So what were we talking about just now?
We were talking about industrialization.
Oh yeah, industrialization. So industrialization in hold on a second, I'm a little embarrassed. I mean, let me just double check if these brothers heard me. I'm pretty sure they heard me.
I didn't hear your conversation. I didn't actually hear your conversation.
I know, I muted you.
Oh, okay. So you muted me, but not everybody else.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, you know, the thing is streaming from the OBS platform. So this dude wrote down, so unprofessional, dude cupcaking live. Yeah, we hear you, fool. Busy macking on cam.
Wow, that's hilarious.
So I might have to take off the, I might have to edit out the live conversation. All right, let me stop. Okay, a little embarrassing. All right. Whew, all right. All right, my bad, man. All right. What are we talking about? Oh yeah, industrialization. So you have the dam. Now the dam. Now you should have a question by. You should have an answer by now. You can't go to traditional Africa and say, oh, they had a heavy industry dams that were owned by council of a certain community. All right.
Well, it wasn't owned. It wasn't owned by the council.
Not owned by. I'm saying who could make negotiations on their behalf.
Here's the deal. Here's how it works. Because in our society, it's the opposite of how we did it in ancient times. So in this society, it goes national, state, or national, regional, local. Whereas in Africa, it went local, regional, national. So within that process, it's not as if the national doesn't have a say. The national or the state itself, the leaders of the state definitely have a say. The reason that the local people, right, had the first or were first in the decision-making process is because like it affected them first, right? Like so the dam in that location would affect the people who live there first. So like what they say. Mm-hmm.
And you feel like let's say, all right, so like I said, I'm doing all this work, I get this freaking dam, right? Let's say I decide, you know, in a national sense, we get all the nation together to work on building this dam so that they could provide for the whole country or whatever, right? And provide for the whole country, and then we also have these, you know, the best leadership in the national, you know, the national level, right? You're saying instead of the leadership of the nation having the first say or the highest say, the biggest say on what goes on with the dam, even though obviously the nation would take on the burden of the cost, right, to create the dam or provide the scientists.
Not necessarily, because so, where does that cost come from?
Where does the cost come from of building the dam?
Or where does the purse or where does the bank of the nation, the money, the gross domestic product, if you will, or the value of the country? I would say that it comes from the workers. I would say that it comes from the local level.
But even if you say the local levels, you have to understand that it'll be a national product, and I mean a national, like let's say give me a city in Africa. No, give me 5 cities in Africa.
Kinshasa.
Hold on a second. Let me write this
Yaoundé.
down. Kinshasa. Yeah. Yaoundé. Dakar.
Nairobi. And then Khartoum,
right?
Yeah.
All right.
Kampala. Is that 5?
No, not 6. So I'm just going to do the 5. So Kinshasa, Yaoundé, Dakar, Nairobi, and Khartoum, right? Let's say we got a big, you know, we got a big situation going on with these 5, right? We have a national budget, right? Collecting from all 5 of these, right? In fact, let's do the 6th one and do the Inga, whatever, right? We collected from all 6, right? And we decide to direct the resources of all 6 to Inga in order to build this dam, so that Inga could then provide energy for the other 5, right? And Inga itself, right? So we on a national level do that, right? Now on a national level, after we all provide for Inga, not just Inga solitarily providing, right? After we, we get scientists from Kinshasa, we get scientists from Yaoundé, we get scientists from Dakar, we even get scientists and engineers and all that from, America, Jamaica, Haiti. It's a Pan-African project. And you're telling me that we should, after I do all this, I do all that, whatever, right? All that organizing, the power should be cupcake and lime. All right, the power should be given to Inga, to decide what to do with this dam now.
The local people, if the local people are impacted first, they should have the first decision with regards to what happened. I think even if the nation states of those cities that I just mentioned, even if it was a national collaboration, I still think from an African philosophical perspective, we respect nature, we respect the impact that we have on nature, and we also respect, the local traditional customs. and I'm strong on that point. I would be remiss to say that I support other people or other Africans from other nation states and other cities to come into Inga in that area and to completely impose their will on the local people who live there. That would definitely be unacceptable.
So you're against. So what form of government are you interested in then?
I am interested in the African mode of production. I'm interested in the same form of communalist cooperative economics that Dr. Chancellor Williams described in Rebirth of African Civilization. For the modernization.
No, I actually. Hold on, I'm trying to. Wait, give me 2 seconds. All right, hold on a second. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm trying to figure out which one of these. I mean, it's a little irrelevant, but only because I screwed up. All right. Anyway, all right. Check this out. Oh wait, hold on a second. Let me just. All right, sorry, boss. All right.
It's all good.
So there's three main types of government, right? There's the nation. I want to say the nation, or the unitary state, the federation, and the confederation. Okay, which of those are you saying that you're supportive of? Because it sounds like you're saying one of them, but which one would you say you're supportive of?
Well, I think though that's a little bit limited in terms of. I mean, you have other types of like tributary state and there's a variety, but according to what you just said, unitary state, I would definitely support the unitary state over those others.
No, in terms of Pan-Africanism. So you're Pan-Africanist, right?
Oh, of course.
So you're saying unitary in terms of Pan-Africanism?
In terms of my position, yes.
How would you be a unitary Pan-Africanist? What does that mean?
Well, Garvey, the UNIA vanguard, that was a unitary state. Lumumba was a unitary state. Dessalines was a unitary state.
But Pan-Africanism, you want regions of Africa. Well, I mean, let me explain to you why I would limit it to those three types of government and why I would use those terms. Unitary supposes that there are, like basically, it's the question of you have. All right, like for instance, go to Kemet. You have the monarch and you have the nomarchs. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or you have you have the nomes and you have the whole nation in a sense, right?
Yeah.
So what I would say is that you have an administration and a sub-administration. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. As to say that there's a larger administration at play, but then there's also smaller administrations at play. In that sense, so the relationship between the administrations and the sub administrations are like threefold. Okay, so what I'll give you how. So the unitary would be the sub administrations don't exist really, or they just follow what the what the administration decides. Okay. The confederation is more that the administration doesn't exist, and it's just that the sub-administrations kind of, like the administration is weak, and the sub-administrations are very strong, and then the federation is that the administration is strong, but the sub-administrations also has some sort of power. But by the unitary, it's like the sub-administrations do not really have any power. It's more, whatever the feds say.
Well, they have influence.
Huh?
They have influence, and I can tell that you are not the biggest fan of Akhenaten.
Akhenaten? No.
Yeah.
No. Who is? Are you?
He did some things good, some
things
horrible.
Hang up. Click. Blocked.
I mean, Amenhotep.
No, I'm joking.
I support. Let me say this. I support the pre-Atenist Amenhotep IV. So basically, the young kid. The young kid.
Yeah, you support the young kid. I'm not a tennis fan, obviously, because I'm an African, right?
But the reason that I bring him up was from a Kemetic perspective, he established the unitary state in his Atenist conception. So that's when you're talking about the sub-administration or the sub-divinities or the Congress, if you will, of the society not having any power. Akhenaten said local deities, local netters, out, Aten in. And the reason why I'm a command economy. I support a command economy, and But
that's what I'm saying. Look, it sounds like you're contradicting yourself because, and I'm just being polite, obviously, but it sounds like if you're telling me you want the locals to decide how the industry of the Inga Dam functions, then why would that? How is that unitary?
Well, hold on. They're first in the decision making process, and John Maharia. I got to go back to the John Maharia and entertain it for a bit because
wait, who's John Maharia?
I'm talking.
Oh, that thing. Oh, yeah. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, I'm just not gonna get it, right? I don't speak Arab, my dude. Like, come on.
Well.
Nah.
For what it's worth, and today, Libya is definitely an anti-black state. During that time, you had some parity in the society, and as an example, right? As an example of how it functioned, Muammar Gaddafi, he was definitely right at the head in terms of he had unitary control of, the nation state of Libya. However, when it came to those things like trade, and when it came to those things like commerce and diplomacy with other nations, it was an inverted triangle, as how it was in ancient Africa, in the sense that the local was first in the decision-making process, but it went up: local, regional, national.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like they have that's not the same as the decision. So, but ultimately,
mm-hmm.
No, all right, that's what I'm saying. Ultimately, who decides whether this, I mean, are any of these countries, I can't remember, any of these cities none of these cities in Nigeria, right? Kinshasa, Yaoundé, Dakar, Nairobi, Khartoum. None of them are Nigeria.
I didn't
right?
name one.
Huh?
No Nigeria.
All right, good. So we have these 6 in our fold. All right. Yes. Inga Dam is in our fold, right? We have the Inga Dam. What's the city in Nigeria? Oh, Lagos. Lagos says, look, we want some energy. We want some of that power that you got. You guys have energy. We want to buy this amount of energy. Who do they talk to? Who do we send to close the deal, to finish the deal?
Well, when you're talking about how it would work, Lagos would talk to those cities. Right?
Hold on, all right. Let me give it to you in English. Let me give it to you in English, I guess. Right? In America,
yeah.
If I want power, I go to Con Edison. Okay? Or if another country wants power from the United States, to trade it with, they probably also go to Con Edison. I don't really know exactly, but maybe Con Edison's gonna send them some batteries or something. Who knows? Or if Canada wants to cut a deal with America somehow, it would cut a deal with Con Edison again. So Con Edison's a private enterprise in America. Now technically we could have our own corporation. Like let's say, let's give a random name, Energies R Us or whatever, right? We got Energies R Us in Africa. Yeah. Let's say that's a possibility. Another possibility is, we have, representatives of the state or whatever. Another possibility is we have, the Inga squad or whatever. Whomever. The point being, who, what is this final representative that Lagos is engaging with? For this power.
The final entity within the decision-making process is obviously the nation state.
Okay.
Right.
So if it's the nation state, what do you mean by the nation state? What do you mean by the nation state? Who in the nation state? What does that mean?
Well, I would say this: if Lagos is making a deal with Inga, right, within that context and within the structure that exists today, you're talking about up to Nigeria and up to the DRC. And if you wanted to go up more to the African Union, you could do that. But the local is just first, right? The higher is the final, or that's like deal. The decision's made. Whereas in this society, the national is first, and then it's like regional, local.
The reason why I bring this up is because you said you do not agree with state capitalism, right?
I do not.
So if this is, but the example of the Inga Dam is, yeah. I'm trying to figure out who has it, if not the state.
The state does have it, but the state is not the same way as the Western Aristotelian logic defines the state. The state is everybody, right? So the state in the African conception is quote unquote national, regional, local, right? It is public, private, and the nuance in between. We don't necessarily have that Yurugu dichotomy where we're always either or, either or, either or. Uh-huh. So within that context, the state is everybody.
Okay, so and how is that represented though? That's what I don't understand. Like, how is that different from Malema?
The difference is that it's not capitalist. The difference is it's not based upon private profit accumulation.
That's so you're saying that that's what you're saying that. You're saying that Malema is encouraging private capital. Capital accumulation for the state.
Essentially, that's the Chinese model.
That's the Chinese. But even in this idea of say the edit, the state wants to engage with Nigeria, right? At a profit, let's say. You're saying that's not a good thing.
If you will have profit, if you do have profit within that type of revolutionary engagement, and if that is your objective to develop Africa, liberate Africa, it would have to be specific. Like, be specific. Like, what is the profit for? Is it a war front? Do you need the deal for military defense? Like, what exactly is the dam for? I could accept.
No, the dam. Look, the dam has a surplus amount of energy. Okay, because technically the Inga Dam could power all of Africa right now. Okay. If we just have a handful of cities and a certain a limited amount of space, and Nigeria still exists outside of us, then clearly we have a surplus amount of energy, right?
Sure.
If we decide to engage Nigeria on a profit basis, you're saying that's not good?
No. The reason why I'm saying that is because that profit is going to go into private hands of the minority. It's not going to be redistributed to the average worker who got the job done. So
the profit going to the you're saying profit should not go to the government, but it should go to the workers.
The government in the African conception, there's no separate, like, the workers are part of the government, right? So the workers are part of the state. There's not really, and again, when I say unitary state, I'm not talking about a capitalist unitary state. I'm talking about Dessalines more. I'm talking about Lumumba. I'm talking about liberation as opposed to manipulation for accumulation.
All right.
So it's not necessarily.
I want people to try to I want people to understand this. So, you're saying, like, I'm trying to wrap my head around it for them. I mean, just so they don't understand. I understand everything. But
you certainly do.
Yeah. Hey. All right. Leave the jokes to me. All right. Let's see. You were saying. Oh yeah. So the workers. So let's say the worker. When you say the worker of the dam, or when you say worker, what do you mean by worker? Do you mean everybody, or do you mean the literal worker in that dam?
I mean all people who put in labor to make the dam what it is.
So only the people that put in labor for the dam.
For the dam specifically, in terms of the operation, yeah, the people who put in labor for the dam should own the majority of the dam, of course.
Okay, so but not really own it, because technically the state would own it and not them.
Yeah, so there's different aspects of tenure.
So all you're saying is that they should just get paid pretty well, or if they cut a deal with Nigeria, they should have the whole surplus for working
the majority there. The majority
for working there. But let's say somebody is not working there. like, you know, somebody else inside of Inga is, you know, doing a farm or whatever, something else, whatever. Should they also have some of the profit?
Well, when you're talking about an African economy, you're not necessarily talking about capital, because capital is very recent in human history. And African currencies, like from cowrie shells to, you know, brass rings. And,
I'm trying to understand you, bro. I
want to, because when you're bringing in like Western concepts, I have to like, because the Western concepts are incompatible with the African political economy. So I'm like, in that instance, there's contradictions, because if you're talking about profit and you're talking about monetary gain, you may have issues, right? You may have issues if all of the accumulation is quantified within, you know, currency-based capital accumulation and surplus, and then you redistribute all of that, you know, to local workers. You're going to have an imbalance. You're going to have an imbalance on the regional level and on the national level.
That's what I'm trying to point out. Well, that's what I'm pointing out. You know, because this is your idea. You know,
and that's what I'm trying to explain.
You fleshed it out.
Explain myself.
No, well, look. Here's the thing, though. You know, we can say, "Hey, look, we don't want to be too westernized. We don't want to be too, you know, Western oriented." But unfortunately, you know, we're in this modern world where you know you don't necessarily have these power plants. You know, these large, you know, energy dams, power plants. You know, selling energy across the continent in pre-colonial Africa. You know what I mean? So it's like you at some point you have to recognize that, you know, the idea of Western incompatibility kind of starts with the whole premise of, well, are we going to, if we're building a freaking dam, you know, a power supply in ancient Africa, in modern Africa, you know, we already left the zone of, oh, we're gonna stick to our own way, in a sense, or our own culture.
I don't think so. I don't think so, because the culture can exist within different levels of development. The Western culture of today is equally as Western as the Western culture of Greco-Rome. It's just that today there's a little bit more technology, and I think it's how we manage that technology and how we organize the society as a whole. And that's what I was trying to explain. In that instance, when we're talking about the modern society that we live in, what we have to do is examine history, examine, you know, the empirical evidence that we have before us, and organizers like Garvey and organizers like Nkrumah, and people who are able to use, you know, the different elements of their revolutionary theory and method to achieve.
You know, anybody could tell you, you know, sit back and say, you know what, but I feel like Garvey and Nkrumah were westernized.
They were in certain because.
Let me ask you this. I do want to ask you two different, you know, about two different people, because that's on the list. I can't really say his name too well, but Satama, Andele Nzatama. What about him? Why do you have him on your list?
Andele Nzatama, refresh me.
Oh, okay. The BLF.
Oh yeah. He's amazing. To be on the front lines in Azania against that, you know, apartheid structure, and be willing to take the radical step and say, hey, you know, we have to actually give back the land to the people. The EFF, they do some good, but again, like the BLF in that instance are much more radical, despite how maybe uncouth they are. They say their objective is to take the land. Right?
Why do you say uncouth?
Well,
let people know. They might not know. And I'm just trying to figure out why you didn't name him. Go on. Well, why do you say uncouth?
Well, I mean,
and he's an actual. And I just want to say this too. He's an actual leader in Africa. You know, the other people you named, except for PLO Lumumba, weren't actual leaders. But
well, there's different types of leaders. Come on. There's different types of leaders. When you're talking about political leader, yes, he is. He has he is the head of a political party, and I don't know if they were able to re-register, because the last time I heard of them, they lost their licensure in Azania. So I don't know, but he is a leader of a political movement. Absolutely.
He's a real leader. Yeah. Look. They said when it comes to leaders, they said it was a quote. One of my other books. Everybody check that out. Nice. But in one of my other books, there's a quote that goes, "A leader who has no followers is only taking a walk." You know. So when it comes to Ndili, you know, he has followers. That's what really would constitute as a leader. Other people do not really have followers per se. You know, you could call them students if you want. You can call them associates or whatever. But it's different from, you know, what leadership entails. So no, I would not put those other people. I would not say there's different types of leaders. I think, you know, like I said in Africa, you know, you have to have followers.
I think those men have followers in the capacity of how they operate.
Yeah, not really. All right, but like not really. Anyway, but like yeah. So why you didn't name Ndili?
I would have named him. I mean, on the spot, it's so difficult because like I have a starting five, and then it's like.
So you feel like in Africa there's just a lot of leadership potential?
Of course, absolutely.
Okay, so what's the problem? All right, no, all right. Last person I want to name is Obenga. Why did you name Obenga?
Obenga of that's not Guinea, no. Obenga or Odinga?
Theophile Obenga.
Oh, of course.
Why did you name him?
Why didn't I name him?
Yeah.
I would have named him. Right? He's at San Francisco State University. Have his book, African Philosophy of the Pharaonic Period.
Oh yeah, that's the one I'm right there.
He's incredible.
So you don't have any problem with the other people? All right. So look, you named Jahi Issa, you named Salim Faraji, you named James Small, Pierre Lumumba, you named Abadale Kambon, right? I asked you why didn't you name Baruti, Chiambaroni, Malema, Unzatama, and Onitaset, obviously, but and Obenga.
Yeah,
and you had no excuse, well, except for
that starting five. Hey, that starting five is just as good as the starting five that I named.
So you would not. You would not. So would you replace anybody from the starting five? From your starting five?
That's a good one. So in Ndili, I'm gonna have to put him.
You can say yes. I don't want you to whatever. I don't want you to. I don't want to. People say I'm divisive. People say I'm divisive.
It's so
but huh?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
It's
I don't
so
have to be too divisive.
It's so difficult.
So you're saying, look, real talk though. Somebody says, based off of everything, somebody says, I want to go follow somebody, and you don't have to say my name, obviously, but I want to go follow somebody. You got one person to name. You just name. We'd have 10 people here. You got one person.
Oof.
What?
One person.
Yeah. Who do you say? Like who do you think? Look. Matter of fact, this is the question.
Okay.
This is the question right here. No, this is the question. Pan-African. Sure. You know, Pan-African. All right. Bet. This is how it go. You know.
Sure.
Oni's a great leader. He's a man. All right. He comes through. He does some conquest and all that. Gets his own land. Right? Gets his land in Africa. Then they open up elections. Right? And the clear favorite is me. But they're like, no, we need to have a fair election, right? And I'm pissed off because I done fought and all that shit, right? You got let's say you fought too. You know, people in the comments they fought too, all that, right? But it's like we're gonna have to have a fair election, right? Who do you nominate? Running against me, even though I did all the work. Who you nominate? As the best possible leader in Africa of a new African state, who do you nominate?
I nominate the person who did all the work, or the person who did the most work.
But you got to nominate somebody against me.
The second best, whoever the second best is.
No, bro, come on, look. You just named these 10 people. People want to know who to follow. Who do you see as true? Because you see, the thing is the trouble is this. Now, this is the trouble that I think. I don't know if Atzazor have to go, but I think this is the trouble that we have as a people when it comes to like really want to do something. You know, we want this Pan-African nationalism yesterday. Okay?
Yeah.
Because we want it yesterday. The question becomes, who, what, you know, like who do we go behind? Who do we fall behind?
I don't think it's that.
Who do you see leading Africa into?
If you said okay, because in Delhi, in Azania, right? As somebody on the front lines, right, in terms of immediate practicality and an immediate objective, he is above everybody because he's on the front lines immediately. So I would have to pick him in that regard.
Really?
But really, because I mean, think about it. Think about it. That is South Africa is the front lines of so many.
Let me ask you this: if you were in South Africa, who would you vote for?
I'd vote for the BLF.
For real?
For sure.
But you
I would definitely vote.
Even though the BLF doesn't have a chance of winning.
I would vote for the BLF. But I don't believe that voting is the main thing that you should be doing to get political power. I definitely don't.
You don't think that in an African state you should have voting elections?
No, you should, but if it's a state that's ran by an invader, I think that they're never going to give you equality in a state that they control. It's impossible. You have to take the power.
So, but all right. So in Namibia, you would support voting.
In Namibia, no, I wouldn't. Honestly, here's the deal. Would I support voting as a primary solution? Absolutely not.
In an African country of our own.
I would not support voting as a primary solution because the African countries are not even really controlled by African people or an African philosophy.
If I done got some land, whatever, and it was like a real ass nation, you're saying that you would not vote even then?
Of course. If it's a country or if it's a nation or a society that we control, yeah, of course.
Okay, but you're saying that we don't control these African nations right now, so you wouldn't vote at all. I mean, you wouldn't vote as a solution to problems. You would
as a primary solution, as a primary pathway to political.
This is why they're not going to allow you in Africa, because you sound like some insurrectionist. You know, who's just never satisfied.
That's not insurrection. No, but that's not insurrection because I mean, if different nations have the right of sovereignty, Oromia in Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia, like if different ethnic groups, right, which the AU did, and I cannot off the top of my head mention it within their constitution.
Name another sister. No, name another sister.
Name another system?
Yeah, sister.
Another sister, other than Marimba Ani and other than Chio, I can't even pronounce her name, Africana, Dr. Africana. Her Igbo name is difficult to pronounce. Rest in peace, Francis Cress Welsing.
This dude gonna reach into the. Come on.
Huh?
Come on, you can't just go to people who passed away. Oh, sorry. Yeah, name another sister.
Clenora Hudson Weems.
Who?
Right, Clenora Hudson Weems.
Oh wait, Clenora Hudson. She's in America?
Yeah.
Well, she's the one who. Why? So you're saying that you would put her up in the top five?
I would put her there because of her intellectual work.
You would put her there. I would put her there
because. Think about it.
Chauvinist. You would put her there. So she don't earn the place. You would just put her there. Got you. Chauvinist.
Come on.
Yo, this chauvinist pig, right? Right, guys. Anyway, no. Okay. What about her? Let us know about her.
Huh?
Let us know about her.
Oh, she formulated what we know as Africana womanism, or she formulated women-based insurrection against anti-colonialism, imperialism, and international white terrorism. That's what she basically gave our sisters a pathway outside of the confines of family.
I guess this is one of the other ones. Farida. What's wrong with? Why didn't you name Farida? Why didn't you name Farida?
There's so many. Do you know Ama Mazama? The fact that I didn't name her, I'm already done. I'm already disqualified. There's so many.
I know, man. I'm starting to wonder about you, man. You talking about you about womanism and all that, but I don't sound like it, man. You know, it's this dude.
No,
great dude.
Honestly,
great dude.
No, here's the thing. Honestly, when I was thinking of those men, I was thinking in terms of front lines, and it's not to say that under certain circumstances.
Dang, bruh, put the shovel down. All right, put the shovel down.
No, come on. We don't want our queens to be on. We don't want them to die first.
So you're telling me that you just named a bunch of people you want to die first? That's what you just said?
Huh?
You just named a bunch of people you want to die first? Is that what that was? That's what you were naming?
I just said
that was the list that you were giving me.
No, that was a philosophical, rhetorical move. But hold on.
That's what you're saying? Like, that was... Yo, what the... And what? Was Zuzu? You gotta send a picture, man. You got that.
Hey, I think every African woman on the planet is adored that I would want to spare them. I would want to spare them.
Pause.
I would want to
pause, but you know, NSFW. All right, let me stop. All right, let me stop. I'm getting a little silly. All right, so you named some good leaders. I think those are some good people. What any organization you recommend today?
I recommend CP. I'm gonna butcher this. We charge genocide. And I have it here. I recommend Afrocentricity International.
Oh yeah.
I recommend the BLF. I'm searching for this one. I'm searching for this. This is a.
Which you part of any of these organizations?
I've been affiliated with. I mainly do work on a local level.
Hey, I'm slipping. I'm falling. I can't get up.
Hold on.
Hey, I'm slipping. I'm falling. I gotta get up. Nah,
Pan-African Federalist movement.
Yeah, bro. You can name all the organizations in the world. You gotta be a part of one. You know that. You know.
I'm a local organizer.
I feel you, bro. Yo, man. I tell you, man. You would have loved my book. I don't know why you don't got it yet. Hold on a second. Let me see what this. Yo, I'm mad I was on that phone though. Hold on a moment. Like, you don't know how slick that is, man. You ain't hear me, but I was slipping, man. Hold on a second. This kid wanted some drink. I was having a drink, so I poured out for him. All right, dude. So I mean, yeah. Thank you. I mean, like, unless you got something else to say. Or if anybody want to jump on the line or something, but what else? What did I miss? Aside from the fact that you a womanist kind of person. Let me see. NAACP. Why is this brother joking, man? There's people in the chat just joking for some reason. I mean, not because I'm joking a lot, but.
hey, shout out to Cobra though. In Cobra, we got to give him a shout out. The coalition that they built, giving people a true reparations alternative as opposed to the craziness that we see online, as well as the Pan-African Federalist Movement. Those two organizations, in terms of reparations, are extremely important to us.
Reparations? Oh, you feel like we would get reparations?
No, hell no.
He's like, big up to it, Cobra. You know the proper work they're doing for reparations. So you think we're gonna get reparations? Hell no! Like, why would we?
In the U.S., in order to give reparations, you would have to destroy the U.S. Constitution and rewrite it, right? So you cannot have an imperialist settler state and then expect to be treated equally. The only way that we're going to truly get reparations is through the liberation struggle, and our rights and our sovereignty and our propriety over what our ancestors died and worked for is only going to be achieved when we seize the means of production and Africanize it within our own state, own sovereign state. That is the only way. And anybody who thinks that this racist, terrorist system is going to give us reparations, you've been asleep. You've been asleep since 1776, possibly since 1619, possibly since 325 in Nicaea, maybe earlier than that in the Amu, when the Amu invaded Kemet proper, right? So we have to wake up and we have to realize that we have to take back what is rightfully ours.
So you're saying that Nkobra's asleep?
No, they are doing a diplomatic formalization. They're building a coalition diplomatically. They are applying pressure while building alliances internationally.
But for reparations?
Sure. I mean, think about it. Garvey said that the world is ran on a right? We have to. I mean, poker face. You
So
can't
you feel like
necessarily
they're
show.
bluffing us? I don't understand. Why would you join an organization that's bluffing?
Well, every organization bluffs. Every organization has branding. Every organization advertises themselves.
I don't know.
Sometimes they tell a story
So if
that's not
ADOS
necessarily
is
true.
complaining about how Nkrumah is not effective at getting reparations, you're saying what?
What bill has ADOS passed? What politician have they voted in through their own support? What political objective have they ever achieved in the history of their
But you
existence?
going at
Right?
them. You going to ADOS. They're a brand new movement. But you're saying Nkrumah was there for 40 years and they're bluffing about being committed to reparations. So why should
No,
why
I'm not
should
saying I'm not.
why should
That's not
somebody
true.
who wants reparations not?
Hmm.
I mean, why should somebody who wants reparations support Nkrumah if you believe that they're bluffing?
Well, like I said, every organization has a way that they brand. But in Cobra's message is not in opposition to international struggles. Like they are not in opposition to CARICOM. They are not in opposition to the
Yeah, but I'm
different
saying
anti-apartheid.
if you wanted, yo, this brother, man, he think I'm a shill for everything. If you wanted, but a good thing about this chat, by the way, is I'm probably gonna cut it out so I could get out of that. Well, I gotta see how bad I was cupcaking. You didn't hear it, but apparently I was pretty bad. But I shouldn't be talking about it. All right, I'm gonna edit this stuff. All right, but but what I'm saying is this: if if I want reparations as a quote unquote African American, right? Then why should I not support? Why should I support a movement that you believe is bluffing?
Because if you follow the philosophy of Garvey, right, in his African philosophy, it would be perfectly in line with what he told us to do. And he told us to be diplomatic in a land that is where we're the minority. Be diplomatic there and build yourself up until you can get into Africa and you can build a state there, and then you can get the job done. So it's all about strategy and it's all about what's practical in the immediate time
Mhm.
phase. And I
Okay.
would say you definitely, because it's there's nothing better than that. And I wouldn't even call ADOS is a bowel movement. I wouldn't even call it a movement. It's a bowel movement because they're
I mean,
ridiculous.
look, I think there's a lot of stuff about ADOS that I do not like. All right. So like, that's a full statement, actually. So I mean, all right, yeah. I mean, I just don't know why you would approve of Cobra if for like if you don't believe you don't think that African American can get reparations, right?
I'm
So
not saying that they can't. I'm just saying that within the society, in the
within
institution
America,
of the with
through an
it,
organization, an American organization, you don't believe so.
it will never happen unless you deconstruct the society itself. It'll never happen.
Yeah. So nah, it's not gonna happen. All right, and then I guess I do want to ask you this though. This is something I'd say. Oh, African Americans. But what's your? Oh, yeah, not yeah, yeah. African Americans. If I say this, I say, look, African Americans are doomed. They are
Hmm.
they're just real. There's not a really good future in store for African Americans. What do you say?
Hmm. I would say you're absolutely right, and I would say that that applies to all Africans under the dominion of imperialism.
All Africans don't have a good future, you believe?
Under imperialism, absolutely.
Oh, I have another question now. Let me say this. You know Jared Ball?
Yes,
What do you think about him?
I think he's done some good work.
All
Some
right.
really good work.
Have you read his last book?
A myth of black buying power. I
Yeah.
have not.
No. Oh, okay. What do you think about the concept though?
Say it one more time, please.
What do you think about the concept of buying power, black buying power? You think that it's a myth?
I mean, I yeah, it's a myth. It's definitely a myth
So you
because
feel like? Oh,
Mhm.
explain that. How do you say that?
If black buying power is real, then poor buying power is real because the majority of black people would be poor in comparison to white people. And
In
if
comparison to
poor
white
buying
people.
power in comparison to white people, yeah. If poor buying power was real, then poor people could buy themselves out of poverty, and we know that empirically that that's absolutely false.
So you feel like you cannot have collective economics in imperialism or in America?
You could have it at a local level, but at a national level, you would have to overthrow the capitalist
So you don't think you could have wealth? You don't think you could have
in
wealth
America.
through collective economics?
You can, but it's going to be limited. It's always going to be limited within the imperialist society.
Limited how or why?
Because the capitalists are always going to have the majority of the control until they're overthrown. The same way that the feudalists had the majority of the control until the capitalists overthrew them. They're not just going to allow you to function if you're threatening their very existence. They're going to, come at you and, see if you got what it takes to survive. And that's how it's been throughout history.
Mm. Okay, so your record. So if somebody says we should practice collective economics, you're saying what?
We should, but it should be an African-centered economics, and it should be towards a objective of liberation. It shouldn't just be let's just make money to be comfortable within the society. It should be let's actually orient our economy not towards profit, but towards
What
anti-racism
does
and towards
liberation mean in America? What does that mean?
You can't have liberation in America, not under the Constitution. You can't have it.
So I don't understand. How would you have your economics tailored to liberation in America? Like, why would you have economics tailored to liberation if you don't feel that liberation can actually
Because
happen?
it has to be international, and it has to be based upon how the mode of production is moving. It has to be based upon moving away from globalization and liberating African people on an international scale from imperialism.
So you
Because
feel
if
that
the
collective economics, as practiced in, let's say, Chicago, should be
Mhm.
oriented towards liberating Africa, but not necessarily
it should
liberating people
be
in Chicago.
it should be oriented towards liberating all African people around simultaneously.
And what does that look like?
Well, the UNIA is an example of that. You
Wait,
have
no,
certain
wait. I just want to
movements.
wait. Sorry, just to clarify. So you're in Chicago. You're practicing collective economics, locally,
Hmm.
and then
Hmm.
the you build up some sort of surplus, economic
Hmm.
surplus, and you use that surplus towards, as you say, liberation, but not within Chicago.
Well, it would depend. It would depend because if you need the money or if you need the surplus in Chicago, you have to use it in Chicago, but you have to
Hmm.
establish solidarity. You can't just be functioning alone, like on an island by yourself. I would hope Chicago has a partnership with Detroit, has a partnership with Minneapolis, has a partnership with New York and other cities, and it can't be an alone thing. If it's an alone thing, we're never going to get the job done.
Well, I thought you said collective economics you want locally. All right, let me try to wrap this up. So your your stance is that collective economics should be towards liberation. I'm just trying to figure out. Oh no, sorry, this was the bigger one. So do you feel the white people are liberated?
In their society, I mean, yeah, they're in terms of being free, right? In terms of their social construct of freedom, yes.
Okay, so
Now,
why is it that capitalism can be free, liberating for white people but not black people?
well, it's not. The psychological wage of whiteness makes them believe that it is, but it actually is not.
So you're saying the white man's not free in capitalism?
He is the same way that the quote unquote free or white people during slavery, the same way that they were poor, but they believed that they were okay because they were above the slave, is the same position of white people today. White people are poor today at astronomical numbers, but it's fascinating. And the reason why, and I'm looking at Du Bois and his two proletariats theory, the reason why it's fascinating is because they're voting against their interests or they'll fight against their economic interests just to maintain their quote unquote white position.
Well,
And
all
that
right.
is
Well,
what
what's
is
wrong with that?
unbelievable. Well, for them, if genetic survival is their primary concern, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. If that's the objective, that is obviously the line that they're following. But from a human perspective, or from a uh, uh, a goodness perspective or ma'atic perspective, if I would, that's not really a good way to run the society where you have a minority of the population with all the wealth and the majority of the population suffering. It's struggling to get a bite to eat, struggling to find a place to stay.
Well,
That's
you feel like the
not really a
majority of
good
whites are
society.
struggling to find a place to stay?
Not compared to black people, absolutely not.
Well, I mean,
Absolutely
look,
not.
the median wealth in America is for white people is like $61,000. I don't think they're, and that's the median. I don't think that they're
Hmm.
struggling to eat. And I mean, I know there's quite a few of them.
It's relative. Racism is a relative a system. So
So
racism
you're saying
affects
this: if
black
you were
people.
white, would you advocate against racism?
If I classified myself as white,
No, if you were white, like, like if you
if I was,
if your family tied back to Europe almost exclusively, predominantly,
uh, uh-huh.
would you be advocating against racism?
If I was intelligent enough to see what it was and see that it was a biological, or sorry, see that it is a terrorist construct, right? If I was able to intelligently see that racism was a terrorist construct, then yes. But as a white classified person, somebody who classifies themselves as a white person will never see that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm unconvinced. You're saying to me that white people, there's a better system for white people. There's a better system for white people that doesn't involve racism.
Wait, hold on. So I don't think because I don't think that's what I said. I'm kind of confused. Um, Now with the system that we have today, there
We,
are a group of people.
we,
No, not we. I'm just saying the
hmm,
system that exists. The system
hmm,
that exists today.
their system. So they have a system that works for them, right?
Yes.
They have a
Yes.
system that makes it so that they can control the world. You know, that they can
Yes.
lead the planet with. If that's the
Yes.
case, then what's the problem?
The problem for them, they don't have a problem because that's
So
the
then,
idea that
why
they
would
want.
you, as an intelligent white person, be opposed to racism?
Well, I mean, it's a little bit of a hypothetical scenario. I'm talking about it from my current perspective of wishing idealistically that I would have the knowledge of knowing what was wrong. But
Yeah.
from an empirical perspective, I know that that's definitely not the
So
case
yeah,
because
I
we
mean,
really have this
so
mechanism.
as you can see, I'll probably be the you'll see why I'll be the leader in Africa. But I'm joking. But like because no, but yeah, I feel like African people. I mean, I feel like European people. Yes, I absolutely think that they will have this racism. On that note, even Garvey said, Europe for the European and America for the American. And when he meant American, he meant these white Americans got the country. America is the white man's country. That's what he would drill into our heads.
I wouldn't say that Europe belongs to people who classify themselves as white. I wouldn't say that.
Well, I mean, look, you know, this is a quote from white folk, and it's one of the best quotes I know from white folk, at least.
Uh,
And it goes, "War doesn't determine who is right. War determines who is left." You know what I mean? And
mhm.
and unfortunately, for what it's worth, the white man got military supremacy. Uh,
Mhm.
especially in Europe, especially in America. Some people would say globally, that's yet to be decided. But in Europe, he's the strongest. He's the strongest military force on that continent. And because of it, that's why he runs it. That's why it's his. Until you are the bigger military threat, like you said, like we had somebody mentioned the Moors before. The Moors were the bigger military threat at one point. Then they slipped up.
Mhm.
But until you have the bigger military threat, you really can't say anything. Uh,
Well, I think nature is on the side of justice, and I think it would be an error to think that 0.64% of human civilization should be universalized to the entirety of the human experience. What we're seeing right now is extremely recent, especially if we look back at our ancestors, and this is a hiccup. we're in a hiccup, and this is a pit stop, and we're going to get out of the pit stop. You know, the temperature is getting hotter and hotter. They're trying to block out the ozone layer. There's different areas of warfare and interaction that definitely the technology from their perspective will not be able to compete with. Chimaconan is definitely a forerunner in that regard. So I would say that you are right in terms of this immediate circumstance, but in terms of the long run, the long game, you know, I would definitely rather be in our position than in the position of the Urugu long term.
Hey, hold on a second. Am I even? I wonder if people can hear me. Can people hear me? Hold on a second. Let me just make sure people can hear me. Alright, whatever, I don't know. Alright, bro, so, you know, let me just say thank you for your time. I mean, unless you have something else to say.
Absolutely.
Or you want something else to say or not really?
No, I'm cool. We had an excellent discussion, and I thank you for letting me on. This is really fun.
Yeah, anytime. Hopefully, I don't know if I brought it to you, if I gave you any, you know, brain teasers and that, you know. I'm trying to be peaceful. People say that I, you know, like, why are you fighting people? Why are you contentious? But thanks so much for coming through. It was enjoyable. You know, you named quite a few people. Most everybody left the stream, so you know, maybe it was going too long. I told them it was just gonna be an hour. We went to 2.
Yeah.
I appreciate you for that. I'm gonna see how I could edit this so that I don't sound like so I could actually, let me not say anything while I'm still on the no, I mean, you know, like, you know, but anyway, all right, boss. Thank you for your time, and I'm gonna try to just log out. I mean, unless you want to still chop it up afterward, I don't know, but
I was actually before bed gonna try to get to work on a new building, so I gotta get that done before I shut my eyes.
All right, boss.
But we're definitely gonna have another one, and next time let's try to have it. I don't know. I guess, I mean, this was cool, but we should have it to where we really dig in on a particular topic and like really name names, because that's really fun.
I thought I was pushing you toward it, but you was, you know, but you know, I think people will definitely benefit from this engage, and I appreciate you sharing the time with me, and thank you so much. You know, get your building on, you know, one build after the other, right?
Absolutely.
All right, boss. All right, Shami Hotep, my dude.
Shami Hotep, do I Uncle Jasineb.
Man, man. Do I net you? I think?
You're gonna practice our Timmy Remy Kimmy. I haven't practiced it in a while. Uncle Jasineb. Ma'akaru Sanem. Ma'akaru. Peace, bro.
All right, peace, man. All right, family, you heard him. I'm out. I'm ghost. I think I found out the problem with my audio. I think because this thing picks up the desktop and the thing. Whatever. I'm gonna end stream. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. This was the Pro Black Perspective on KWAZ Radio, and I'm out.